Start recording. So we are again good to go.
Give me a few minutes just to share.
Okay, sir. Okay, fine. Where is our match finisher? I mean, Awais. Awais, is this you?
Assalamu alaikum. How are you, sir?
There's a bit. I'm good. There's a bit noisy from your side. Can you check?
Okay, let me see.
Okay, Anish, let's get started.
Yes, sir. Sure. So,
Therefore-
sir, meeting is live on Facebook and recording has been started. So we can start. Awais, are you with us?
Yes.
Sorry, are you?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Yeah,
think
but
you're
why today there is a noisy? I guess you should unplug your
Let me configure.
headset
Okay.
and plug it back.
Okay. Let him work on it. Let's get started.
Okay, fine.
Anish, what we are going to do is first let's discuss.
Okay.
Today we are going to start relational databases. When I went to university, they taught me relational databases.
At that time, of course, there is only one type of database, which is a relational database.
I am talking about 1990.
Yes, sir.
And they used to teach us relational databases. And I actually kind of loved relational databases. Then when we started developing web applications, people found that relational databases were not scalable enough.
Yes, sir. So just for curiosity, can you share the name of database at that time, the RDBMS you were using in US? It was Informix or Oracle?
It was Oracle.
Oracle. Because when I start learning databases, I start using DBMS or DBMS. The name of the database was the DBMS because in Pakistan we are totally based on PC-based computing, and then the Fox Pro and the DBase and this type of things. And then we will later on Oracle when there is the wide area networks or larger enterprise networks. At that time, Informix was the leader at time, but they are going down. I don't know why. And Oracle start taking place of it.
Yes. And the thing was that when we started off developing it, then a lot of people moved to a lot of startups like Facebook. At that time was a startup. What they did was basically they kept on using open source relational databases, but they stopped using foreign keys, normalized forms, and all the rest of the stuff, which we are going to discuss today. Because they basically were using relational databases as a document database.
Okay.
And then people realized that instead of using relational databases, why not use document database? And at that time, MongoDB rose from the ashes and became very famous. And most of the developer I made a lot of money by being a mean stack developer, which was MongoDB, Express,
Apache,
Angular, and MEAN and Node.js.
Node.js.
Now it's Mont.
Before that, lot of people, I never used it. Lot of people were using LambStack, which was Linux, Apache,
MongoDB,
MySQL, and PHP.
PHP. Yeah. LAMP versus mean.
LAMP predated mean stack. And then what happened was that all the rest of the stack remained. Angular took some missteps, and then we changed the Angular mean stack. We went to the MERN stack.
Okay. So you
Which
say
is
that
basically-
Angular is not going to follow a right direction at that moment.
Yes, they basically were left behind by React, and React is right now has, as all of us know, about 60-70% of the market. So therefore, a lot of mean stack developers, because they only had to change what do you call
A front end library actually, or framework,
actually,
because
just-
other thing was the same. No? Node is same.
they were
Mongo
still
is
using
same.
MongoDB.
Yeah.
But
So
initially, I loved MongoDB because it was much easier, less work to basically design a database. But later I found out, as I moved into complicated projects, that MongoDB was extremely difficult to design a robust database because of the relationships were not there between documents.
okay.
And if you had not thought of a query beforehand, Anish,
Okay.
you were in trouble because you created indexes on MongoDB based on the query and you designed the database, your query. But as you know, you are an experienced database guy, that when you start off, you don't know what kind of queries there will be.
Of course, sir.
And once we start developing applications, and it becomes complicated, and then you have to basically have a lot of redundant data. Now, what do I mean by that? In MongoDB, what you used to do is, for example, if you have a new query, you copied the data to another query and change the index, and then started a new query. And what happened was that there were a lot of the same copies of data in different documents. And the MongoDB was a document database.
Okay, makes sense. So
Therefore,
it means that you cannot connect two documents together as a
you can do
connected
it.
joint sig.
There was no concept of foreign keys.
Okay.
And that data consistency was also a problem.
Of course.
Because in relational database, the database consistency has been taken care by the database. It will not allow you to delete a row if it is mentioned somewhere as a foreign key.
Yes, sir.
Now that was the problem. Now we are now fast forward to 2021, and we are moving into 2022.
But sir, you shared thing, but just to mention others, just want to rewind. Actually, you have already discussed such things, that why we left RDBMS. There are two things. There's a key point in that you mentioned earlier for our audience and the people who are going to watch recording later, that the main challenge for the RDBMS, they were good to process, everything was good, but there are two things. One is the scalability. It was difficult to scale a very consistent or very connected type of database, I think. And sometimes we are not aware that how much normalization or how much separation or you can say the relationship may exist or may not exist in the RDBMS. I think these were the two challenges. That's why
Yes.
we have started. Yeah. Anything else?
Yes. Now what happened was, about 5-6 years back, Google and other companies started doing research on creating distributed relational databases.
Okay.
And now in 2021, we have a choice of a few databases that are SQL based relational databases, but at the same time distributed and very scalable.
Okay.
Now these databases are coming up very fast, and in the next few years, they will mature. Therefore, what we are doing is we are moving away from mean stack to MERN stack. Now we are again back to RDBMS.
Okay. So where the database which lies the graph DB is left? Is it somewhere exist, or
That's
it's
a very,
also going?
very good question. What the thing is that for databases where you have to basically have a lot of interconnected relationships.
Okay.
For example, where the different entities are connected, and you want in the your AI people also to later on basically access the database and make queries. And because data has become, as you know, Anish, data has become the primary resource in the world.
Yes, sir.
It is just
Absolutely
like
right.
oil. Why? First of all, you can query it, but the main reason is that now you can create AI models using data.
Yeah, and everyone is aware that in nowadays data science itself as a competitive of computer science, you can say. A lot of companies are working on the AI based system, analytical systems, and data centric system, rather than they are selling products or shopping cart or typical search engine in this type of things.
Yes. Therefore, now we have, if I was developing an application now, I will not touch document databases.
Okay.
Except for very simple projects.
Okay.
Yes, I might use MongoDB or DynamoDB, but for very simple projects.
And what about Graph DB?
That's what I'm saying. Once I've decided that I'm going to do a project, what I'm going to do is look at that. For example, if it is financial data,
okay,
I will select relational database, a new kind of relational database.
Okay.
If
it must be scalable and everything should be in.
And if it is a lot of connections are there, if a lot of connections are there, so therefore, and a lot of relationships are there, so therefore what I will do is basically choose graph databases. So this is the issue. So therefore, in these classes, we are basically taking care of both relational databases and distributed relational database, the new kind of database. Now, most of the databases, as you had mentioned in your last meeting, Anish, Postgres has risen in developer ranking a lot. And
sorry, sir, I couldn't hear your last line actually.
I was saying most of the developers who are using relational databases basically like Postgres a lot.
Okay.
And as you also like it, you have also been using it in your work. Now,
yeah, of course.
And what has happened is that most of these distributed databases don't use Postgres, but what they do is on the back end, they have implemented a new kind of database, a distributed database, but the connection APIs, the wire format which the data goes, they have adopted Postgres or MySQL. So therefore, the user of the database does not know whether it is connected to Postgres or MySQL, a new kind of distributed database. They think that it is the same old database, but the internal dynamics of the code and the internal code has changed.
Okay, fine. You want to, you are actually saying that just to revise my understanding that in different cloud providers and different vendors of the databases implementing an scalable system. But yeah, carry on, sir.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay, so but for making their database compatible, they try to implement certain things which is very much compatible or very much similar with the Postgres or MySQL.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes, the front end, basically on the wire protocol, when the client
You can
talks
say
to
the
the
API,
database,
the
yes,
interface.
the API. And what has happened is that, for example, Aurora serverless, AWS Aurora serverless, or Cockroach DB serverless, Raj, both are using Postgres wire formats. So therefore, what we will do is we will look into these new kind of serverless databases, relational databases, and we have already covered the graph databases. And for the next 2-3 classes, we will keep on learning relational databases, which is very important, especially in financial environments and others as well. Okay.
Okay, fine. Just before you start further ahead, I want to revise certain things, and I want other participants to please chip in and discuss if there is something they are unable to understand. Just one thing I want to mention: when we were talking about the API, actually we are all aware, or maybe we are already used that when we need to use a database, we have already discussed such thing in the last class. We need a language, or we can say a command system, which is called SQL. We use SQL. So whatever type of programs we are using, it's already in a Node or Python or PHP, whatever, we need to connect with the database with the two things. First, we need a connection or connector. We need a connector, and we need a SQL. So regardless of the database we are going to use, we have to use SQL because there is a RDBMS behind it. But how the RDBMS people implemented that SQL on the back end, that is their own way. So Sarzia actually mentioned that the behind the Aurora and the Cockroach DB are implementing their own implementation. But for the front end, they is still using SQL as an interface. So every application can connect and access the data using the SQL. Sir, is that?
Yes. And the second thing is, which is not very good news for people like you, Anis, it is self-managed.
Okay.
It is managed databases. Usually, for example, in your company, Anis, how many people are you guys hire? Do you guys hire database administrators?
Yes, sir. Not only the database administrator, we have a full data DevOps team, and you can say the data DevOps, which is responsible to taking care of database instance, because they're in my organization, and unlike other organization, there are many or multiple instances are running for the databases. So there is a team actually work 24/7 that taking care of the database availability, accessibility, and performance. Queries running for a long time, they have to be kill and remove and availability in this type of things. And the one very major thing that because we have using databases in some traditional way, so scalability is somehow a challenge, and we have to scheduling the things because we are not going to scale our database instance. For example, there's a requirement for running a big query, we cannot run, and we need to find out it's a time slot, and this type of things. I hope everybody understanding these challenges which I am facing as a data engineer at my company.
I will tell you a very funny story. I was once going to a business, one of the main business, Anis? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Once I was in Pakistan, there's a very famous, in Karachi, there's a very famous street called I.I. Chandigarh Road, which is basically all the banks are located there and the big companies are located there. So therefore, what I went to visit somebody, and when I was walking on the street, one of my students came and basically hugged me and said, and I asked him that, what are you doing these days? And he told me that he is working as a database person in a very big bank. So I congratulated him and I was very happy for my student. And I said, this must be a very hard job. You have a huge bank and a lot of data. and must be very hard work.
Yeah, and there's a old saying you have seen that when a company going to be closed, the accountant is the last person who leave the company. So there is the highest level of job security, but the saying is changed a bit. There is the accountant and the database administrator left the company in the last.
Yeah. Very good joke. Anyway, today I asked him that told me that he was doing, actually, he said there's not a lot of work. I didn't understand it. I said, why? You have such a huge company and you're taking care of the main databases. He said, what the problem is, sir, if I give a query, the answer does not come in after it comes. Usually on the average, it takes 5 hours to process the data.
Of course, that is the bank data.
And 5 hours. So therefore, most of the time, that's why I'm walking here. And I'm going to take a long lunch. I submit a query. And then I roam around in the office talking to everyone because I have no work to do.
Actually, but inside it's actually the challenge of the scalability. Sometimes he needs a query to be run within a minute or within a few minutes, but because he could not scale his system, the underlying system, he had to wait for 5 hours.
Yes, and
I'm sure that the new provider like Aurora and Cockroach DB are going to solve these issues.
Yes, that is why it is called a distributed database. And we are going to basically cover these serverless databases, which are basically very scalable and solves all these issues, which I have mentioned and Anis has mentioned.
It means that this is not only good for the new people who are learning databases, but also for the old people who are already aware of the databases, that how to solve the challenges of scalability in the RDBMS. So it would be good thing.
Second thing is, but the only bad part is, Anis, that if you guys move to the cloud, I think half of the workforce in the database department has to be let go. I'm joking.
Yes, sir. No, sir, it's not joking, but actually we always think that we are going to remove the workforce, but it becomes a new opportunity exists. For example, if you think about when earlier time computers start working, so we start thinking that it will replace the lot of manual people, but now there are a lot of new opportunities exist, and then the cloud come, the managed thing. So I believe that when the managed stance and scalability exists, we have a lot of new things which we are unable to do. So we were doing our new things, just like developing a data processing pipeline, performing some sort of machine learning or analysis, business intelligence, a lot of things which we are unable to do because we are struggling to extract the database, the data or information or processing certain things, because we have a lot of infrastructure challenges.
Yes, exactly. And now most of it will be managed by the cloud provider. So therefore, let's now start with the first article.
Yeah, and we will be having a new thing because we are bored of all things, so we have a very new things.
Yes, exactly.
I guess, yeah.
You guys can become DevOps people in the cloud.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay. Now let's. Why don't you share your screen, Anis, and let's start with because you are.
The first thing. Okay. Sir, is my screen clear enough?
Yes.
Visible?
It is.
Okay.
Wes, before we start with this article, please share this article on the group. And do you want to add anything?
No, sir, absolutely. Sir Anis and you just give a brief intro about the database and how it goes and the complication and the challenges we face. It's absolutely great. We can carry on further.
But Aves, you have to be ready because you are going to implement a sample database
Sir,
in your TypeScript app.
Yeah, sir. Actually,
So
5 years or 6 years ago, in 2015 and 2016, when I just started development, I just developed the and used the MS Server at that time with the Java
great.
with my Java applications. I have developed the desktop application over there, and then I moved to the C Sharp, and then I also used the MS Server at there that time, and then I also implement with PHP using XAMPP, and then also implement with the ASP.NET using the MS Server.
Okay, that's great because because your role is very defined here. You are going to finish this game. So I and Sir Zia would left everything in the end of the game for you. So that's why your involvement is very much required here. Anyway,
Inshallah.
Why,
sir, here is the
please,
sir, please.
take the lead and tell us what is database design, what are requirement analysis, and what are these guys talking about?
Excuse me, sir, I couldn't hear. I guess there are trouble in your voice. The last sentence. Could you repeat?
What I'm saying is, in this article, they are talking about database design and database modeling. Please take us through this article and tell us about your experiences and the rest of the stuff.
Yeah. So please keep reading. It's already shared in our chat window, and later on we will try to share this this chat window in the description of the video. So please keep following the description. If you are watching video after this session as a recorded video on the YouTube, so please keep following our description, because I'll copy the all chat with the description. So you will find out the 3 links, and the first one is actually the all one move to that thing. This is the database design, and the participant in this session are requested to keep reading. If you have some problem in visibility, please let me know. Ignore the girls, following the text only. Okay. So this is the database design. So, sir, sometimes people are very much confused with the design and the development.
Yes. What's the difference?
Sir, I think when you're talking about the design, actually we mean to what I could say, sketching or planning is a part of the designing. Why the development is a part of the implementation, as well as some sort of coding. While the designing is a sketching or planning. For example, if I'll move, you can say this picture is a part of our designing process. Okay, planning, system definition, designing, logical model and physical model. I'll think that these are the designing, implementation, and the implementation here is a development. I might be still confused, so you can put your opinion here.
Go ahead, please.
Okay, so guys, the very important thing, which is the difference between the designing and the development. I believe Aves and Sir Zia, or even you can correct me if I'm going wrong, because this is a very conceptual things that sometimes we directly start coding not for our software development, but also for the database development. We start creating direct commands and creating tables and so many things. So this article is somehow quite good in such a manner that we also think about the designing. So the database designing, as written here, is a collection of the processes that facilitate designing, development, implementation, and maintenance of enterprise data management system. So this is some key points for the designing, and that there is a main objective the designing is to produce logical and physical design model for the proposed database system. So we will discuss here what the logical and what is the physical. The logical model concentrate on the data requirement and the data to be stored independent of the physical consideration. This is our logical model. When we were designing actually logical model, we never care about how it will be implemented in our RDBMS or in the database system. When we were dealing with the physical model, we have to consider that what and how our database would be implemented. And you can read things. This is a very good article. Everything is written very easy and very straightforward way. It does not contain itself with how the data will be stored and where it will be stored physically. So this is the model. When we are talking about physical designing, we have to involve the logical DB design as well as the physical media, hardware resources, software system, and many other things. Is there any question? For example, when we were talking about the logical database, we say there is a product ID. Okay. But when we talking about the physical model, we will say the product ID would be integer and it would be implemented as a composite index. So there are two things. One, we are talking about the logical impacts. For example, there is a product and there is a product ID. The product ID for us is simply ID and it should be unique. That's fine. But when we are going to implement, we have to consider how we will implement that uniqueness. So first of all, we have to identify that our product ID must be integer or numeric, whatever, or alphanumeric, whatever the need is, first of all, and then how we will implement that uniqueness in this using a primary key, using a unique key and anything else, and how it will generate using it would be auto-generated or not auto-generated, and so many things. And what would be the required length or required storage it will take. For example, your primary key could contain 100 characters, 200 characters, 300 characters, whatever, or even 10 characters if it is very small. So when we were talking about the storage, it's a physical one, and we were talking about only is the requirement that what is going to be do. It's a logical one. I think that I have clear enough that what is the difference between the logical and the physical designing of a database by the help of a product key. Is there any question from your side?
Yes. What's the difference? Therefore, you said the difference between logical model and implementation is, and the physical model is that when you're talking about logical, you don't think about how you are going to implement it.
Yeah. And when we're talking about the physical model, we have to also consider that how we were going to implement that.
Okay. Makes sense.
Okay. And not only this thing, for example, take about some other, I'm just talking about at this moment, I'm just talking about the column level or attribute level physical and logical definition. For example, let's talk about the date. When we were talking about the logical level, we say we will store registration date. That's it. We are not going to say how we will store registration date in the database. But when we were going to physical implementation, we will need to discuss that how our dates will be stored. Sometimes some people think that the date would be stored into a 3 columns, date, month, and year. And sometimes we need to store date as a date column. That means it will store only date. And sometimes we need to store date as a date and time column, which will be large in the size, but will contain time also up to the seconds. Or sometimes we will need to store time up to the microseconds. And sometimes we also implement, we think that the date or time is not only requirement. So we are going to be implement a time stamp, which is going for the nanosecond or microseconds. So when we were dealing with the date, we are not considering how we will implement. But when we will going for the physical model, we have to start thinking that how we will implement our date. That is a very good example because we have to consider a lot of things when we will implementing it physically. For example, if you are going to store in a timestamp format, we are storing it as a microsecond up to the microsecond. The size would be quite large and it will take more time to process, and the index take more storage and more memory. So there is always a trade-off. So this thinking of the trade-off is a part of our physical implementation. Now, this is a great question. You can ask that when we have a deal with the physical model, why should we have a logical model? And the answer is very simple. If we immediately start physical model, we start confusing very hard. So first we will try to develop a logical model, or we can say in other words, it would be an abstract. We are ignoring the details because otherwise we cannot develop a complete model. We will stuck in every table a lot. Once we have a complete picture, then we start detailing. It's a very common thing. I hope even in software programming you do that. We sometimes develop a class with different functions, definitions, but we are not going to implement their definitions. And later on, we start implementation. Sir Zia, am I right? I'm
Yes,
going
of
right? Good. Okay.
You know, Anish bhai, you know much more than I do.
Of course, sir, but actually I need a feedback because sometimes if you know a lot, you start thinking something you can say.
That's actually true. Okay, let's
Yeah,
move
actually,
ahead.
I'm trying to remove this animation, a game animation, so we can focus. Okay, so in the database development life
I
cycle,
think Tahir
Tahir
has a
bin
question.
Yusuf.
Tahir
Yeah,
has a
Tahir,
question.
please carry on.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Alaikum salam.
Sir, I have a question regarding logical design and physical design. Up until now, I have believed that logical design is basically our design, and physical is the implementation that is done or taken care by RDBMS. But right now, what you are saying is, I'm still confused about it.
You are a bit confused because actually there are two things when we were learning databases. We are dealing with the two things. For example, if you are developing a table, or if you are creating a table, you will already consider that the dealing of the table is the only responsibility of the underlying database engine. But actually it is not. Here database administrator comes in. That tells that how that data table would organize. For example, there are different type of table organization. For example, one is the index organized table, one is a normal table, one is the cluster table, and the database administrator or the database designer actually decide that how the table would be reside. So in Oracle and even the Postgres or in our MySQL, different type of table organization exists that you can choose. So actually, we start believing that we have created a table, that's fine. But actually, the database administrator and database designer have lot of do in the physical way. I'm just talking about the column, but think about the table. Sometimes even the database administrator would decide that where the table would store, if there is a multiple storage exist, to improve the concurrency and the access performance. Now, the Sir Zia said that actually the scalability and the managed database systems by the database provider actually eliminating that need. So now, as a database administrator, you might skip or leave the implementation details somehow to the Aurora provider or the Cockroach DB provider, but you have to choose certain things. For example, the index have a different type. For example, you have a binary type of index, you have a composite index. How much keys would be composed? For example, it's a very common question that how your primary key would be created or generated. Is this a composite key? Is this an auto-generated key? So these are definitely physical implementations. You cannot say it's a logical. It's a physical because it will needs a lot of understanding. For example, if you are concatenating 2 or 3 columns, you have to consider the performance issues. So this is my opinion. But anyway, Sarziya or Aves could add something else if I'm going wrong, because I have some overlapping understanding. Maybe I could wrong.
So, sir, can we say that the normalization and the ER modeling of the database is fall under the physical layer of the design pattern?
Let's see. Actually, this is also discussed in the program. Let's see. That's why the database designing logical model. This stage concerned with the developing database-based model on requirements. The entire database on paper without any physical implementation or specific database consideration. Okay? That is a logical physical model. That stage implement the logical model of the database, taking into the account of the DBMS and physical implementation factors. Now, this is the difference that this article says, that how we are going to be implemented. We go further detail, and then I'll take your concern back. For example, implementation. Now, there's a two things: designing is a logical and the physical, and there's another implementation, the data conversion and loading and testing. Two type of normalization techniques. One is a normalization and one is the ERD. So at this moment,
But
at
sir,
least you can, yeah.
Sir, normalization and ER modeling both are logical. It's not physical.
I didn't say that it's logical or physical. I'm here. I say that when you are developing a logical model, you are without any physical implementation or physical DBMS conditions.
Sir,
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt again. The thing that's confusing me is that suppose we are designing a table for our simple database.
Okay.
We will start from the requirements and up till we go to the logical design. We know which attributes are composite and stuff like this. And concurrency and duplication matters are dealt with by normalization process.
Okay. Because
Am I
I
right
am
till
not.
now?
Yeah, you are right, but actually
But then
we are not here actually. No? We are not at the normalization. You are confused with the normalization and the database planning. The database designing has a two-way: the logical model and the physical model. Okay. At this moment, we are not talking about the normalization is a part of physical or logical. We are talking about that when we going to designing a database, there are two-way. And this is not my word. Actually, it's an article written document which is says that the entire design on paper without any physical implementations or specific DBMS consideration. While in the physical model, we have to take into the account the DBMS and physical model. Now, at 2 points, are you agree or still has some confusion?
sir, my confusion is regarding physical model and logical model. You see,
Okay.
we developed the logical model so that we can port it to any other DBMS if we must, and it will not be a burden for us to upgrade or
Okay, fine.
to
This is
go to
not a debating thing. I just shared the idea written in this article. But if you are not agree with this, that's fine. Leave it. It's not a big deal.
No,
Okay,
sir.
now move to.
I'm just I want to clear this concept because if I don't understand, then it will not be possible for progress, for my own progress.
No. Actually, what you want, we are not talking about the normalization. I think that there are two type of models or exist. Okay. Are you disagree with this?
No, sir. It's I think it's logical and physical.
Okay. So what issue in these 2 points?
I still don't understand that when we say that like an argument or attribute is integer type or string type, will it be physical or logical design?
Okay, this
That's the
is,
main concern.
in my opinion, it's still a physical database design. But if you think that I'm telling wrong, leave it. We are not going to debate because this is not a point of interest. Whether you believe it's logical or physical, it won't going to hurt your designing approach. For me, I believe that if you don't believe that, that's okay, fine, leave it. Actually, there are two things we have to consider, that there is a physical model and there is a logical model. If you think that the physical model is the underlying implementation, let's move on.
Yes,
I have
it's
no
not,
issue if you
this is not a very important point. Let's move to normalization of the databases and other stuff.
yeah.
Okay, got it, sir. Got it.
Okay, so when we talking about the database and the data, there is a one thing is called normalization. Okay, the very important thing is the RDBMS, that only RDBMS required some top type of normalization, because we have already worked on the GraphQL database, and if you are already aware of the NoSQL or the document databases or the MongoDB, etc., or there is some traditional databases exist, which is like hierarchical databases on the network databases, whatever, they never have introduced any term like normalization. Why normalization is needed? Because in the normalization, we actually implemented certain thing which is not an issue in the other databases, but which is the there is an advantage of using RDBMS, that RDBMS reduces data redundancy. It means only RDBMS help you to reduce the size of data by removing or restricting you to enter duplicates, while the other database does not provide you this requirement, and eliminate undesirable characters like insertion, updates, and deletion anomalies. Anomalies mean abnormalities. So these are two special things. One is redundancy and the other is the anomalies, which can be dealt in the RDBMS very well as compared with the other document store type of databases and other things. Is there anyone ask something else? So I hope you understand the purpose of the normalization. The purpose is to reduce the duplication and to eliminate the abnormalities. And there is a certain rules. One is the normalization rules is called, that we are going to divide larger tables into smaller tables and link them using relationship. It means if we have a large table, we will discuss as an example here, we will separate out or divide it into a smaller portion and then link into a relationship. The purpose of the normalization is SQL to eliminate redundant repetitive data and ensure the data is stored logically. Okay, can anyone think about it and give me an example?
Same customer ordering multiple products. So if you don't go for normalization, then we have to repeat the customer
Yeah.
details in every order. But
That
if
is
we go
great.
for normalization, we can eliminate the need for repeating the customer details.
Yeah, this is great. We will we will see soon normalized thing, but the point for our understanding is that we are going to, for example, if every product have a manufacturer, so manufacturer name, manufacturer address, manufacturer country is required for every product title. But what we will do, we will put the manufacturer in a separate table which contain a manufacturer ID manufacturer name, manufacturer country, manufacturer location, and then we join that manufacturer table with the product table based on the ID. I hope is that clear. If not, just hold on. We will discuss further. So here are different type of database normal forms. One is a 1F, 2NF, 3NF, and there's a lot of NF. So don't worry about that. This is very simple to understand. So I guess in a few minutes you will be understand everything about that, and it is very easy to implement because it is very natural. Okay, take an example here that there is a name, physical address, and movie rented, and the salutation. This is the unnormalized data. As the movie rented column has multiple values. Movie rented is the Pirate of the Caribbean and the Clash of the Titans. Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Daddy's Little Girl. There are two things, Clash of the Titans. Are you able to analyze or note the challenge we are facing here? Anyone here in this moment, in that column, the movies rented?
Multiple entries are there.
Multiple entries are there. In the full name, there is a single entries. In the physical address, there is a single entries. In a salutation, there is a single entries. But in the same row, there are multiple entry exist in a single column. So what our first normalization say? That should be a single value in a single column, atomic level. Each table cell should contain a single value. Each record need to be unique. So now in the first NF, you can say that we have created a single record into two records, one for the Pirates of the Caribbean and for the Clash of the Titans. So this is our unnormalized level, and this is the one error. Everybody has understand this, or do I need to ask, or do I need to do something more clear? Tahir,
Clear.
what is your opinion about that? Am I right or wrong?
Sorry, sir. I was unable to attend. Can you please repeat?
This is our first unnormalized form. There is a two values in the same cell. The first NF rule says there should be a single value in a single cell. So that's why we created two rows for this single rows. We break this cell into two rows. So if you are already have the link of that page, you can also go up and go down, scroll up and scroll down, and can identify that what is the difference between the first form and the second form. There are the 1, 2, 3. 3 rows exist, but now there is a 5 row exist. So can you understand the difference and the reason for this difference? Sarzia, am I good to go?
Yes, go ahead, please.
And
No?
yeah, please proceed.
I lost you after the point that we divided the rows because they have multiple values.
Okay, fine. Do you
So,
have any,
now-
are you facing any issue?
I don't know, maybe net is quite slow for me today.
Okay. Let my make my camera off,
But
so you will be.
But-
Okay. Please proceed. You want to say something?
yes, sir. Since I just want to say that since we have divided the column into multiple columns, that everyone has
multiple rows.
atomic values, so it's in first multiple rows. So every column has atomic values. So
Yeah,
it's
this
in
is
first
right.
normal form.
Yeah,
Am I right, sir?
yeah, you are certainly right. And I just in this article, the atomic value is translated in this phrase. Each table set should contain a single value. You can say single value or you can say atomic value. Both are same.
Okay,
Why a single value is also called atomic value?
true.
Okay, fine. A key in SQL is usually used to identify the record in a table uniquely. An SQL key is a single column or combination of multiple columns used uniquely identify rows or tuple in the table. SQL key is used to identify duplicate information, and it helps to establish a relationship between multiple tables of the database. So what we are going to do, we are going to discuss the keys. So actually there is a need of a key. And what is the key? Key is a value that is used to identify column in a table uniquely. An SQL key is a single column or combination of multiple columns used to uniquely identify row or tuple, which are both in the sense in a table. So can you tell me which key could be good, which column could be used as a key? Can anyone suggest me? Here, the full name, physical address, movie rented, and salutation. I suggest the salutation could be a key. Everyone is agree? Tahir?
Sir, I don't think it can be used because multiple rows has the same key. So I think all four attributes should be used as key for this particular table.
Okay, makes sense. Anyone else want to suggest his idea that which key can be used as which column can be used as a key? Here, key means we want to find out a column that have a value, and that value could uniquely identify a row. So for example, let's take about full names. The full names has same value on multiple rows. For example, Rabbit Phil. If I take this column as a key means, what does it mean? A value that can identify a particular row. So if I try to use Rabbit Phil and search in this table, I would get 3 rows. There is no way I could not access any single row with using this column. So because of this condition, that column, because it contains multiple values or same values multiple times, we cannot use it as a SQL key. And even we cannot use movie rented and even a physical address. So we can go for the Tahir idea, but let's see what this article says. So a key should identify okay, and the column could be single column and multiple column. SQL key is used to identify duplicate information. It's how to establish a relationship between multiple tenant instances. The column in the table are not used. Columns in the table are not used to identify or record uniquely, are called non-key columns. I hope this is clear. We move primary key, and then primary key A primary key is a single column value used to identify database record uniquely. What do you understand by unique? In my point of view, unique means it should not be repeated in any row in that particular column. So unfortunately, there is no column exists that contain unique row values. Every column in this table has values that are occurs multiple times. So it does not fulfill our unique key idea. And for the primary key, there are certain more things need to be exist, that a primary key should not be null. And the primary key must be unique. And the primary key must be given a value when the new record inserted. And the primary key is rarely changed. It means primary key can be changed, but rarely. And it sometimes it becomes tough to change because it has a lot of dependency exists. So what is the difference between the primary key and a unique key? Can anybody suggest?
It is not necessary for the unique key to be a primary key. Primary key is the prime identifier in a table, but it must need to be unique. But not every unique key needed to be a primary key.
Okay, this is fine. You are saying fine, but what is the difference between a unique key and a primary key?
Primary key is an identifier. Unique key is just a property that it has to be unique. Primary key can also not be null, but unique.
Yeah.
So the primary key is basically for identification. Unique key is just a property.
No, that's you actually the difference. You are no, I'm not talking about the properties of primary key and unique key. I'm just discussing about the differences. So there's only two difference, but or in fact there's only one difference. A unique key and the primary key has only one difference mentioned here, that a primary key cannot be null. If a primary key is a null or has a null value, it cannot be called primary key, but it can be called unique key. So in other words, a unique key could be a primary key if it has no null values, or in the other word, a unique key can have nulls. This is a very weird thing, but this is a very key point. Many people face this type of questions in their exam and test and even interviews and fail. The issue with the unique key is that the unique key is unique, but there can be nulls and many nulls. Am I able to clear myself?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So once we have no single column, we can merge two columns and make a composite key. So now what we are going to do, that we have a name and address to identify or to make it as a composite key, so it could be served to uniquely identify a row. Anyone have a question? What is the core problem in RDBMS? Anyone know? What is the most challenging problem in the RDBMS? Can anyone guess?
Selecting a proper primary key.
No, this is somehow exists, but actually the most challenging problem in the RDBMS is that the RDBMS is very, very much conceptual and very, very less in implementation. You have to know a lot of things in developing a concepts. But when we going to implement such thing, you may use a single command for implementing a lot of things. But if you are unable to understand a single concepts, you may face a lot of challenge when we are going to implement an RDBMS. So that's why you have to focus a lot on the concepts, because there are many things are not clearly defined when you are doing its implementation. So that is why I am emphasizing each and every point very carefully, so you can have a very good thing. So what is the second NF? The single column primary key that does not fully functionally dependent or any subset of the candidate key relationship. A single column primary key that does not fully functionally dependent on any subset of the candidate key relationship. So check why we have a two things here. In the first normal form, we have a single table, but can you try to explore why we have created two tables here?
Now movie listings don't need to have repeated membership information. Membership are stored separately with a membership ID, and the movie listing table just needs to have that membership ID in the second table.
Okay. Makes sense that we have divided our first NF into two table 1, table 1, table 2 contain member information, table 2 contain information of the movie rented. Actually, in this first table, we have two information. What is the movie rented and what is the membership? So both interrelated information are now divided into two tables. And in the first table, we have a membership ID, and the second table, here is the movie's name. So we can, what we have done, we actually reduce the duplication. Here, there's a lot of duplication. Every rows have Janet Jones, this one, you can see Miss, three columns are repeated everywhere. But in this situation, if you're talking about the movie rented, we can see that there is a movie name, pirated the name, and there is a membership ID. Only single value. And this is contained one, and we can match that one in the related table. And in that related table, the one available only once, and that once is Janet Jones, its physical address and its salutation. And here we can very much sure that when we were finding one in the table, the one only exists only once, not again and again. So it means that the one here can uniquely identify the whole row. But why there is a one doubles?
Here it is a foreign key.
Okay, but where is the primary key here?
Primary key will either be its auto incremental key given there, but here we can use movie rented as primary key as well. But if we don't want to use, but we cannot use it as well because Clash of Titans is repeated. So we have to create another primary key for this table.
Okay, it means at this stage, this table need a primary key, a column that have a value, or sorry, a column that have values that each value could uniquely identify a row. Here, primary key exists, membership ID, which ensure that it would not be duplicate, it won't not be null. So a value could uniquely define a row. So primary key has been created here, but not here. Let's see what happened. But till now, we have moved to our second NF. And when we are using a primary key to any other table for the referencing, then it would be called foreign key. Okay, for a cell phone company, what primary key they are using to uniquely identify their customer? Any idea? Any guess? You understand the cell phone
I think
company?
it
It
should be SIM number,
but
but
I want to say that how a cell phone company, for example, Jazz, could uniquely identify its customer. If you want to say the SIM number, is this possible that a customer can have multiple or more than one SIM? Is this allowed?
no, my mistake, my bad. I think it should be identity number, ID card number, CNIC number.
Is everyone understanding what I'm telling you? For example, the Ufone, I have 3 SIMs under my name from the same company, Ufone. Now, how my information are uniquely identified by the Ufone? What could be the column? My name, my address.
The
Anyone can guess?
CNIC information.
Of course, CNIC information. But there is a certain consideration. For example, think about that someone living outside the country and willing a SIM from the Ufone. In such case, how they would uniquely identify?
Passport number.
Passport number. It means that passport number or a membership number used for such purpose. Okay. Now the detail, I'm skipping the details which we have already discussed something. Now there's a reason why we do need a foreign key. So there's a two reasons. The first, if I want to search, for example, I want to know which customer has rented the Pirates of the Caribbean. So I could find out the one and I'll search one here and I will immediately know who has rented the movie. Now, on the other hand, there is another consideration that actually database engine or RDBMS system handles. Suppose a novice insert a record in table B, membership ID 101. But membership ID 101 is not present in table 1. So what it will do, the database will throw an error. With this help our referential integrity. So if somebody asks me what the referential integrity is, so I will reply, otherwise I'll go to the next topic.
Please explain, sir, what is referential integrity?
Referential integrity means the reference ID. It ensures that the information I am using, it should be exist in somewhere. So my information never be inconsistent. This is the point which Sir Zia explained in a very early stage, that the RDBMS, because of this consistency implemented in every RDBMS, we are sure that our database is integrated complete and consistent. It is not possible that we issue a movie to a customer whose customer ID does not exist. Even the information exists in two separate tables. The table is different. There are two tables now, but the RDBMS ensure that both tables has a strong relationship, and this is called referential integrity. I hope I have clear my point of view. Okay. Now, a transitive functional dependency. Read this and suggest me what is he is going to say. Can anybody want to suggest what is the issue in the transitive functional dependency?
If we change the name, then we may need to change the salutation. It means two non-key tables are dependent on each other.
Yeah,
So-
the two columns are dependent on each other, which is not good. So in the third NF, what we are going to do? We are going to do that. That in the membership ID, we have a salutation ID. Okay. So now we have a no functional dependency other than on primary key. So we are in the 3NF. Now we are actually, and in a lot of books, 3NF is good enough to start using your database, but BCNF is the next step, which says that there should be some anomalies resulted if more than one candidate key exists. We will see in future, in a short future, if there exists sometime. So sometime, for example, you have joined an institute, for example, the university. So we all aware that in the university, there is always allocated a roll number or registration number. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
But they also need to maintain our NIC. So actually, even they are dealing their whole system using the registration number or the roll number, but even that, they have to take care the uniqueness of the NIC. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Because if by mistake two registrations, two roll number or two registration number exist with the same NIC, it means there is something wrong. Am I right? It might be that a single person having two registrations or a mistake. Agreed or not? Everyone agree? Awais, are you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So if everyone has agreed and not going to ask anything, I could easily move To the fourth, if no database table instance contain two or more independent and multi-valued data describing the relevant entity, then it is the fourth normalization form. Okay, and the fifth one is the cannot be decomposed to any number of smaller table without loss of data. So it is FN5LM. Actually, this is actually some extended checks. There is nothing to change. We are not going to change anything. We are just implementing the new rules. And we are going to moving to the next topic. So here is a summary, and maybe you have a good understanding about the steps of normalization. I'm moving to the third level. We have covered database designing part, and we have covered normalization, and we are moving towards entity relationship model. Anyone asked to ask any question? So
In your routine work, third normal form is good enough?
yes, sir, most of the time. But I have already discussed, which is a very challenging thing for everyone. So we also need to maintain fourth one and the even fifth one. For example, we have our own. We use our own key for identify products in our database. Okay, but there is a globally exist standard. For example, UNSPC, the United Nations identifies certain products with the special numbers. So we need to also maintain these number in our databases. So some of the time we also deal with this challenge that we are using two numbers, two things in our tables. One is the product ID and UNSPC and some other standardized product IDs. I hope I have clear myself.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So everywhere this happens.
For normalize and normalize, I think the indexing issue arises that it makes the read operations slower when we use indexing. If we go beyond,
Yeah, but actually Tahir actually restricted me to do anything about that because he says that physical implementation is not a part of our designing. So let's handle the database engine.
okay.
Tahir, am I right?
Sir, I think so, but I might be wrong.
But actually the domain is very complex, so I could not say that I am right. I might be wrong and you could be wrong, right? Anyway, let's move ahead. So entity relationship model, this is another designing approach. The normalization was a designing approach, and the approach guidelines or approach goals were to reduce the redundancy, the duplication, and increase the integrity. When you reduce duplications, when you reduce the redundancy, when you divide the data in a proper way, you actually increase the integrity and consistency. Your data is very consistent. Think about a university that, for example, they have registration number, they have a name of the student, but they don't have NIC. So will it call their data consistent data? I think not. So at that moment, RDBMS help us to make their data integrated and consistent. So the ER modeling is another way, and it's a graphical approach. The normalization is not a graphical approach, but here is a graphical approach. And in this way, we have certain things, some new keys, some new terms. Let's discuss it. An entity is a thing or object in a real world that is distinguishable from surrounding environment. For example, employee, books, and so many things. An entity has a set of properties, and entity properties can have values. Here at that moment, I have highlighted this text, and I'm waiting anyone to ask me any question. No one? Move to. So let's consider, for example, an employee of our organization is an entity. If Peter is a programmer, an employee at Microsoft, he can have attributes like name, age, weight, height. It's obvious that those do hold values relevant to him. Each attribute had values. Most of cases, single attributes have one values, but it is possible for attributes have multiple values. For example, Peter's age has a single value, but his phone numbers property can have multiple values. These are two paragraphs. Can you please read yourself and ask me any question? Otherwise, I'll think that it's clear enough. Nothing. It's simply a new approach, but it's very much similar with our normalization. In the normalization, we have columns, and here we have attributes or properties. We have a columns like name, age, weight, and height in the normalization table style, and here in the entities we are calling them as an attributes. Entities have a relationship with each other. Let's consider with the simplest example is a Peter computer, also an entity. Peter is using that computer, and the same computer is used by Peter. In other words, it's a mutual relationship between the Peter and computer. So there is a one-to-one relationship between the Peter and his computer. You can say the laptop. This is very normal and very clear. For example, you are working in a company, and company allocated a laptop. So they need to keep record of their laptop. So what they will do, they register the information of the laptop, like its memory, its model, its processor, its date of purchase, and many things, and also assign a key. And that key and the Peter would use to relate both. So whenever I'll go and I want to know that Peter is using which type of laptop, I'll find the key, and using that relationship, it is called one-to-one relationship, and would able to identify that all details about the laptop. Why it is one-to-one relationship? Because I believing that everyone would assign only one laptop. But in some companies, it is possible that if you have a multiple laptop can be assigned to you. In such case, the relationship would be one to many. So here you could understand two things: entity relationship and one to many relationship. Here is an example that how we can create it graphically. I'm enlarging the screen so you can check yourself. So you can see there is a payments and the student's master. The student master is a table name. You can say its table name is student, but master means is a master database. There is a, when we have a central information, we are going to keep central information in the RDBMS. We call it master. It means it's a original data, and we will use somewhere else that, but this is the original or the source of all things. So student master is a table where all core or required information related to the student would be stored. That's why we are using it, student master. So master is a master is a term used in database lot of. So there is a one-to-many relationship exists and student and its payments. Why there is a one-to-many relationship? Because there is a one student can have multiple payments records. His first payment, his second payments, his third payments. But in the payments, the student number would relate only one record in this table. For example, there is a student number 1012. So 1012 exists many rows in this table, showing that the student has paid fees multiple times. But whenever, so there would be, for example, 10 or 5 rows in the payment table. But when I'm going to find or search 1012 in this table, I will always find only a single row. So this is called one-to-many. The steric means there is a many relationship. I hope I have clear myself. Always, I'm going good. People are able to
Yes,
understand my thing.
Yes, sir,
Maybe
yes,
I
sir.
could. Yeah, okay. This is good enough. Okay. Faisal, are you with us?
Yes, yes.
So Faisal, any question from your side? You are very silent today.
I was talking about indexing, and I was the one who was talking about that.
Okay, but are you very much clear about the
Yeah.
the-
Yes.
yeah? Okay, so why use ER model? This very thing good. The ER model is very graphical and very helpful. So there is a ER model given. We can check that. You can see he has a store, MyFlix. So you can say there is a product could have apparel size. So you can see a single product could contain multiple apparel size. For example, a shirt could be in a, small, medium, large, and extra large. But what do you think about that? The product color and product, what sort of relationship exists? Faisal, can you guess?
Well, it depends on the product, but a product, if you identify as a unique product, like if we identify a certain car with a unique plate number, then we can say it has one color. But if we are talking about a set of products, then it can have many products, many colors. So it depends on
Okay.
the context.
Sir, I think
you want? Yeah.
I
Please
think
go ahead.
one product can have many colors and one color can be applied to many products, but each product
Yeah.
must have at least one color, and every color must be associated with at least one product.
So we can say that there is a many-to-many relationship between the colors and a product. A product could have multiple colors. For example, you are going to buy a shirt. The shirt could be in blue, red, and black colors, and there is a many shirt which have black colors. So this is a many-to-many relationship. On the other hand, there is a one-to-many relationship. A product color could contain color ID, color code, and color name. So a product color is a one-to-many relationship. A category and the product category is a one-to-one relationship, and the product and the product categories has a multiple relationship. It means a product can have multiple product categories, and a categories have lot of products. It is a bit confusing because we believe that a one product could be part of a single category. For example, a cell phone could not be part of any other category, but a different products can be part of multiple categories. For example, a mouse could be part of accessories and computing device, because a mouse can be sold as a separate thing or as a part of a desktop or laptop system as an accessory. For example, take another example. Do you have any example, Awais, Tahir, Faisal, that how can a single product could be a part of the multiple category? For example, talk about refrigerator. Yeah, of course, movie. Here, movie is not a product, but if a movie could be a part of comedy, action, or multiple category. For example, refrigerator could be part of the electronic device and household device or home appliances. So it could be part of the electronic devices or electrical devices or home appliances. And there is another entities, member, movies, categories, movie rentals, and payments. So I'm not creating entity relationship diagram for these entities, and this is your home assignment to send us over the Discord with the entity relationship of this thing. Otherwise, please note that they have to submit that assignment. So what you need to do, you need to create an entity relationship diagram. There is an online and offline editor exists. You can use that for creating an entity relationship diagram, but you have to submit me or submit us on the Discord regarding entity relationship diagrams of these entities. So who will in part of our session or watching this video, it is his ethical responsibility to send us the entity relationship diagram of these entities. Otherwise, Sir Zia could stop you going into Jannat. Am I right, sir?
Of course.
Because, sir, at least at Fennec Cloud and under your leadership, we are working very hard just to do something that our student would able to. So at least we can raise some challenges or charges, at least ethically. So
We are done for today.
yes, I guess it's it's at least all we have done is a part of relationship diagram. It's a tutorial exists, which is I guess till the ERD we have done.
Okay.
So
the
I think
next-
that
In the next class,
wha-
we will start working on SQL,
yes, sir.
and we are going to cover a book, and we are going to practice SQL in the next class. Or see you,
Yeah.
all of you. See all of you in the next class. Everything is documented on the bootcamp repository. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Thank you. Anyway.
Allah Hafiz. Thank you.